Ali from Group 8. Today I'm going to tell the steps of involved in the data discretization and the types of data discretization. So, firstly, there are the steps involved in the discretization of binding, histogram analysis, entropy-based discretization, interval merging by chi-square analysis, cluster analysis, and discretization by integer partitioning. So, next to the types of data discretization. So, firstly, before that, the data discretization can be classified into two types, which is supervised and unsupervised. So, based on the supervised and unsupervised, we came up with the famous discretization techniques, which is histogram analysis, binding, cluster analysis, data discretization using decision tree analysis, data discretization using correlation analysis. So let's now see a one-liner or a brief about each technique. So first is the histogram analysis. Histogram is a graph that depicts a continuous data sets underlying frequency distribution. The histogram is useful for data distribution inspection, outliers, skewness representation, normal distribution representation. So from this, the after the analysis is done, so we get a result in which the data discretized values. So next is the binding. Binding is a data smoothing technique for grouping a large number of continuous values into smaller ones. This technique can be utilized for data discretization and formation of idea hierarchy. So and the binding is also a same little bit similar to the histogram analysis, in which once the end result is the data discretized result. So these are the types of data discretization techniques. Next is the cluster analysis. Data discretized is a type of cluster analysis to isolate the computational feature of a variable. Maybe let's take a variable x. A clustering algorithm divides the values of x numbers into clusters. Then next is the data discretization using decision tree analysis. A top-down slicing technique is employed in the decision tree analysis called data discretization. It is carried out under the supervision of medical professional in the numeric attribute discretization. You must first choose the attribute with the lowest entropy and then you must run it using the recursive process. Using the same splitting criterion, the recursive procedure divides into the discretized disjoint intervals from the top to bottom. Next is data discretization using correlation analysis. Here, the best surrounding interval in which the larger intervals are joined to produce a large overlap, resulting in which final 20 overlapping intervals. This technique is kind of overseen. And next is the generation concept hierarchy for nominal data. Concept hierarchy transforms the data into many layers. By adding partial or absolute ordering between the attributes, the definition hierarchy can be generated, and this can be achieved at the level of schema. Next is the entropy based discretization, an effective technique in handling continuous attributes for data mining, especially for classification problems. Next is the data discretization and concept hierarchy generation. The term hierarchy represents organizational structure or mapping in which the items are ranked according to the levels of importance. In other words, we can say that the hierarchy refers to the sequence of mapping a set of more general complex concepts to the complex concepts. For example, if you take a case of computer science, there are different types of hierarchical systems. So, if we consider a document is placed in a folder in the Windows at a specific place in the tree structure. Uh, Tree structure, then there is a specific place in the tree structure. It is the best example of the computer hierarchical tree model. So there are two types of the mapping. One is the top down mapping and bottom up mapping. So here, if you consider the top down mapping, uh, begins, as the name suggests, it's like basic information at the top and then concludes with the specialized information at the bottom. The bottom up mapping often begins at the bottom and with the specialized data and finishes at the top with more generalized data. Thank you.